Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. Hello, my golf friend. Welcome back to Think Above Par. I am super happy that you are here. Hope you're playing some amazing golf, getting into the swing of things, hopefully have some decent weather, and hopefully you're staying off your phone, because that's what I want to talk about today, is your phone and golf, and how it is actually a huge distraction. And I'm not a fan, especially if you're playing in a tournament, of jumping on your phone. And I want to give you a couple different scenarios on why. And I want to tell you a couple stories about incidents where some of my clients have jumped on their phone or used their phone during a round of golf, and it hasn't served them quite so well. And it is kind of one of those things that they ask us to access relative to keeping scores. I'm not a fan of that either. I'm old school scorecard pencil kind of girl. Anytime that we have to keep score, I always give the phone to somebody else to do it. I really don't want to do it because I don't want the distraction. Now, some of you might be like, Kath, it's not a problem. But I'm going to show you a couple different reasons why it can be a problem. Okay, so first let me tell you a funny story. I had a client who was playing in a qualifier, and they were on the 16th hole and they got stopped. Play got backed up. And because they had to wait, he jumped on his phone and he got a text from his mom who said, "Congratulations. I see that you qualified." And he said, "Mom, I'm on the 16th tee." She goes, "Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the board and it says that you qualified." And he said, "No, Mom, I'm standing on the 16th tee." He proceeded to 3-putt the 16th hole. He knew he needed to birdie 2 holes now coming in. So he put pressure on himself to birdie the next hole or to hit it towards a pin that was really tucked. Made bogey there, parred the last hole, and missed by a couple shots. Now, his mom felt horrible for texting during the round, but she didn't know any better. But she's looking online. She's looking at the scoreboard online and then texts her son, assuming that he was done. Who knows what she was looking at? He still had some holes left to play, but he also looked at the phone. And now it's a distraction because what does he know? He knows he's close. He knows he's right on the line. He's going to put some pressure on himself on those last couple holes to make a birdie or to not make a bogey going in. So this is just one example of how when we jump on the phone, we don't know what kind of notification we're going to get. We don't know what kind of messages that we're going to see. We might have the best of messages coming with a lot of love from a parent or a friend who says, "I see that you're doing really well. I notice you're right on the cut line. Keep going. Make a couple more birdies coming in." We might not see that until we get done if we hadn't picked up the phone. But if we're picking up the phone and we notice that there's a message from somebody that is important to us, and we get to see those little brief clips of the message on our phone, so we might get the first couple sentences of it, this becomes pressure. Even though it's coming from a place of love and caring, right now it's on our mind. Now we're thinking about it. So phones can be a very sneaky distraction that mess with your mindset more than you think. And the question to really ask yourself, is that notification really helping you get into your zone and focusing on your golf swing, or is it pulling you out of it? I like to think about what's the upside of you looking at your phone. So the first one that's really common is checking what the cut line is or looking at the live scoring to see how you're doing. And I have some players, some tour players, and some top amateurs who will argue with me that it's really useful for them to see the position that they're in. I'm saying it's an urge and a craving that you have to look at it. It's being nosy, so to speak, because if you look, you might see that if I make a birdie coming in on the last few holes, I might make the cut. And so you say to yourself, let's make a couple birdies. Now, if you've listened to my podcast on how to make a birdie, it is to hit as many shots from calm, certain, and confident. Most people don't go out and set the intention of making a birdie and it coming to fruition, because if you were that good, why the hell have you not been making birdies for the first 15 holes? If you can make a birdie on demand, right? The question to ask yourself is, how do you make a birdie? There's so many different ways to make a birdie, but it is not by trying or putting extra pressure on yourself. That usually ends up with not a great result. So there's no upside to looking and noticing that, oh, if I just make a couple birdies coming in, I got a shot at making the cut or moving up a couple places or even winning, unless this puts you into an extra gear of focus and motivation and determination. But then I really want you to get curious on why the hell you haven't been doing that. Why haven't you gone and done that for the first 15 holes and gotten ahead of it? So this isn't even an issue for you. Most of the time that backfires. It turns into pressure. So when you're checking the phone to check the live scoring or to check the cut line to see where you stand, get really curious on why you're doing it. And is it putting pressure on you? The ultimate goal is to stand on the first tee and hit as many shots from calm, certain, and confident as possible. Slap your score up on the board at the end of 18 and say, that's the best I had. It's about putting your nose down and staring at the lane in the bottom of the pool and not lifting your head up until you hit the wall. That swimming analogy when we start a round of golf. Okay, the other example is that you could get texts that you do not want to see. You see that little notification button, unless you're me, that says that I have like 4,000 emails that I haven't opened up. Just like my friends who see that freak out. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. But if you're a person where you see that red notification button and it drives you crazy, you might see a notification that you don't want to see. It is a distraction to you. You get a text from your boss or an email from work or a friend's update or a message from a family member or a kid who's freaking out about something. It's going to steal your mental bandwidth on the golf course. You're going to start thinking about that. It's going to take you off of the task at hand. It is a distraction. And your brain's going to start solving for those problems instead of reading the greens and figure out what club you need to hit and what is the best course management for that hole. And in the other example that I gave, you might see a notification from supporters who are like saying, you got this. But their external expectations can feel really heavy, especially if they're wrapped up in love and you start feeling that pressure. Okay, so this is what's really happening when you're checking your phone. One, you have a dopamine loop, and it's real. Every time you check your phone, your text, your email, your notification, you get a tiny hit of dopamine. That's the brain's feel-good chemical. It trains your brain to crave novelty and reward, which undermines that deep focus you need for performance. So over time, your brain learns that boredom equals check phone equals feel better. Even if you weren't bored, it just becomes automatic. So if you can't put down your phone, if you're addicted to your phone, especially if you're doing it on the golf course, it's not that you're undisciplined. You're just chemically wired now to crave that little buzz. So you want to notice the urge and you want to not react to it, especially on the golf course. The other thing, when you look at your phone, you get distracted by a message or a text from somebody else, it takes 23 minutes to refocus. So a well-known University of California, Irvine study found that after a single interruption, it takes on average 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get fully back on task. So even these short distractions can take you away from focusing in the task at hand. So this is one of those things, a little bit off topic, is that when I have focus time at work, it is not okay to interrupt me without my permission. So when people come in and constantly are interrupting you, let's say if you're working on something, it takes 23 minutes for you to get back on task. So if I'm writing something or if I'm recording a podcast and someone comes, one of my kids or my husband comes and interrupts me and asks me, where's the ketchup? Something that's totally not important. I get a little irritated because I tell them it's going to take me 23 minutes by this study for me to get fully back engaged to what I was doing. So it might not be that dramatic on the golf course, but it is going to take you time to get back engaged in what you were doing. This is why, too, sometimes conversations on the golf course, if they take us too far off what we're thinking about and focusing on, they can really be a distraction. It can be hard to get ourselves back into what we were doing. We might become really super disengaged. So that 23-minute rule you get to use anywhere when you're focusing on something at home or even on the golf course. But those notifications and those messages and those things that you look at on your phone are a distraction. Also, just hearing your phone buzz can trigger a stress response, even if you don't check it. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that alert sounds cause attention lapses, even when the phone wasn't touched. So in golf language, that little ding can cost you some of your rhythm, your breathing, your tempo, or you just even trusting your swing. So turn your phone off, onto silent. So I'm not saying your phone is bad. You just get to decide if it's serving you. If looking at your phone to decide where you are is going to help you stay focused and calm and present, and it's not going to put pressure on you, then go ahead and look at the cut line. Go ahead and see where your placement is. And then, of course, I want you to text me and tell me all about that because I want to know exactly what's happening for you, because there's not too many people that is actually a real life situation. But if you're serious about your mental game, you have to protect your focus like it's part of your equipment. And knowing what the phone is doing, which is part of why I record this podcast, what the phone is doing and those notifications are doing to your focus, to your stress, and those little dopamine hits that we're craving out there and why we really can't put our phone down is going to be really useful for you to move forward with your mental game, taking more of your talent out on the golf course, being more present, understanding why you're so distracted at moments. So this is what you can do. Put your phone in airplane mode every round, no exceptions. Tell your people, hey, I love you, but don't text me during the round. And replace the urge when you're tempted to pick up your phone. You want to first notice it, of course, but when you're tempted to check, just take 3 breaths or focus on something outside of you. Use your eyes to focus on something natural like the trees, the sky, or the grass, and then take your hands off of the phone. So I challenge you to try 1 round, totally phone free. Turn it off, keep it in your golf bag, leave it in your locker room, and see what happens. You might not shoot your best score, but I guarantee you'll be more present. And you'll notice those urges that you want to check your phone. You'll notice those moments of boredom where you don't know how to occupy your time, that the phone has replaced those moments. And then I want you to text me about it, but of course, after your round. All right, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful week. And if I can help you in any way, make sure you go to kathyhartwood.com. All right, I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.